The Aurora History Museum and Historic Sites would like to welcome viewers to a time when comic books made front-page news. Our time-traveling news reporter, Skip Decade, will bring you this special, all-comic book edition of Super Old News. These stories have been borrowed from historic Aurora newspapers, with additional images borrowed from Ace Publishers' Science and Space Action Comics. Today's Super Old News is brought to you by Land of the Lost in an ad from the Adams County News, May 1941. Regarded as the finest show for children on the air lanes, Land of the Lost has caught on so well that a comic book in color based on it will appear next month. Parents can rest easy when Junior's reading or listening to Land of the Lost. Welcome, loyal listener, to a special edition of the Super Old News Network. I'm intrepid newsman of the past, Skip Decade, coming to you with all the comic book news from Aurora, Colorado. Now, here's Super Old News. We begin with an editorial from the Aurora Advocate, July 1949. With the teenage problem apparently growing day by day, we think it high time for some of the women's organizations, or men's for that matter, to take to task the publishers of these sexy comic books. Do the publishers of these magazines have no discretion? Must they swell profits at the expense of undermining today's youth? We realize human lives are sometimes sacrificed to make profits for large corporations who have no feeling. But surely the publishers of these sexy comic books must have children of their own for whom they care. Wake up, Aurora! This is of vital importance. Any organization that will offer its services to rid the market of this type of comic book will have the complete cooperation of the Advocate staff and paper to blast this wide open. Dateline, January 1950. The Aurora Democrat reports, comic books get the last laugh. There may not be any laughs in current comic books, as so many psychologists, psychiatrists, educators, and ministers have charged, but there was certainly more than a chuckle for the comic book publishers themselves, in the spectacular respectability recently accorded to their products. For as amazing as it may seem, the U.S. State Department is to incorporate comic book techniques into its latest bid for the minds of non-communists in Asia. The series includes 32-page books of the lives of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Walt Whitman, Abraham Lincoln, Andrew Carnegie, Jane Addams, Thomas Edison, and George Washington Carver. The hope is that through hand-to-hand circulation, this information about the history and background of the United States will be widely spread. Libraries and other agencies of the State Department Public Affairs Division, already on scene, will distribute the books. Now we have a special on-the-scenes report from the Aurora Public Library's Minicon. Here's our roving reporter, Skip Decade. Are you there, Skip? I'm here, Skip. This is Skip Decade reporting on-site at the Aurora Public Library Minicon. The con is scheduled to start at any moment and excitement is high. This excited fan would like to tell us about the experience here. So, what can visitors expect to see and do at the Minicon? Wait a minute, you're not a fan. You're some kind of an alien creating a temporal technobabble wormhole. Skip? Skip, are you there? It's Skip in the studio. Can you hear me? Well, we seem to be having technical issues and we've lost the feed from the Minicon. So, back to the news. More from the Aurora Democrat. Dateline, March 1961. What kind of a noise does a planet make when it explodes? Well, that's what a group of serious-minded men in Miami, Florida want to know. They're bringing Superman to the screen at Fleischer Studios. And in one of the opening scenes, a planet explodes. Only Superman in a rocket ship escapes. Max Fleischer thinks it ought to be very, very loud. Dave Fleischer thinks it ought to be a combination of heavy gunfire, earthquakes, and an apple breaking in two, very much multiplied. Well, unless somebody thinks up something more satisfactory, the apple wins. Thank you for joining us for a very special edition of the Super Old News Network. This is Skip Decade, signing off. Look for Skip on the latest super old news on the Aurora History Museum and Historic Sites Facebook page, live from the past every Tuesday at 11. You can also find archived super old news videos there as well.